Hello, Internet. It's after Christmas, which means it's time for my yearly tradition where I rant at a camera for an unspecified amount of time about a variety of unspecified topics. For those of you who are new here, this is basically where I make a video each day after Christmas up until New Year's Eve, basically unpacking the year and discussing things that I've learned, as well as discuss topics that I don't normally get to discuss on my channel proper in my more in-depth analyses and reviews. So, 2020. It is a year that has basically run all of us in some way, shape, or form through the emotional ringer. And honestly, I know I am not alone in saying this, but let's just say this year has left me feeling a bit numb. I mean, between a global pandemic, an earthquake that occurred here in Utah, a massive windstorm that occurred here in Utah, as well as the wave of protests and civil unrest, there's just been so much happening this year, and honestly, it can be pretty overwhelming when looking back. And as we are getting ready to kick 2020 to the curb and brace ourselves for what the new year will bring us, there's going to be a lot of videos and a lot of think pieces talking about how we need to focus on the positives, on the good things that happened this year. But in the midst of a lot of this emphasis on positivity, there's an aspect to this reflection on this past year that I feel often gets ignored or dismissed. Now, this video was partially inspired by a couple of videos that were posted by Joy Frost. She did a project that she called Vlogmas, which is where she made a vlog every day in the lead up to Christmas. And on two of these videos, she posted a song called The True Christmas Feeling, which was focused specifically on people who find it hard to feel happy during the holiday season, where in a time where everybody's telling you should be joyful and merry and bright, but for a lot of us, myself included, it's just really, really hard to do that. This year has filled a lot of us with fear, sadness, anxiety, anger, frustration, and a whole myriad of negative emotions just because of everything that has happened this year, as well as the fact that this year has brought out what I would consider to be facets of what represent the worst of humanity. As a result, it can be really hard to really think back on the positives that have happened. I mean, speaking personally, there were a lot of things I had hoped to do this year that I had to abandon or put on hold because of the pandemic, as well as having to deal with a brief period of time where I was barely getting any hours at work. I was still employed, but I was only getting like 10 hours a week and having to pick up whatever shifts I could just to get by. This year has been rough on a lot of people. And so my main message with this video is that, yeah, while looking back, it is good to think about the positive things that have happened, the positive memories you were able to create, the positive things that have happened. Be sure to allow yourself the time to feel those negative emotions that you're also carrying with you and allow them to run their course. Our society kind of instills in us that sadness and anger are inconvenient and you don't want to inconvenience other people, so you just bury them and put them aside and try to ignore them. And honestly, that just makes the problem worse. Allow yourself to feel that sadness. Allow yourself to feel that anger, that frustration. Allow those emotions to run their course. Because if you try to bury them, if you try to deny them, you're only going to be doing more damage to yourself in the long run, and it is only going to make the problem even worse. This year was horrible. There were some good things that happened this year, but there were also a lot of really bad things, especially with a lot of the days blurring together because we were all just muddling through this massive fog of stress and fear and anxiety. As great as it is to focus on the positives this year, as easy as it is to try to think, oh, well, let's just focus on the bright side, be sure as you're looking back on 2020, as you are putting things into perspective leading into this new year, allow yourself to mourn the people you have lost. Allow yourself to mourn the time that was lost, the opportunities that were lost. Allow yourself to grieve and mourn and feel all of the negative emotions that this year has inflicted upon you. That's pretty much the only way that you'll really be able to heal and allow yourself to start the new year on a stronger foot. And it's not going to be easy. I mean, from what I'm seeing from my perspective, there's still a lot of stuff that have happened this year that are going to have a massive ripple effect on 2021. I know I'm pretty lucky. I still have a roof over my head. I still have a job. And I still am in pretty good shape compared to a lot of other people who have either lost their jobs or lost their homes because of the eviction moratoriums expiring soon. And so, yeah, It's good and all to count your blessings, but don't be afraid to acknowledge the curses and the mental and emotional wounds this year has inflicted upon us. It is only by acknowledging that they're there and allowing your emotions to run their course that you'll actually be on the right path towards healing from the damage this year has inflicted upon us. That's pretty much all I wanted to say with this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next one.